Alright, so to not to reiterate but to recall what happened last time. Your ship, along with the rest of the fleet, has been attacked by a massive armada of various forces, sea monsters, serpents, krakens, dragons, whatever the fuck happened. Your ship has also gone down despite your best efforts, and towards the morning hours of the next day, you assume, you have awoken at the beach. You have met up with the head ranger, Greenstalker. After exchanging some information and getting your bearings, you have made your way towards a impromptu small camp that has been made by other survivors of the fleet, and you have met with Goldvein and Hruk, which are those are the two members of the Wanderers that belong to the other team. Essentially, they have given you, like, if you wanted to like sit down and like talk to exchange information over alcohol or something. I believe Axrak decided to take a swing. And before we continue with the discussion, just I believe I have 2 or 3 technical things to say. One small disclaimer: I tried my best and I did spend a few hours like preparing stuff, so I hope it will be okay. However, considering the situation you are in and the type of the campaign, it might be something that I didn't manage to prepare exactly, so apologies if I will have to wing it or basically at some point call it earlier, because I just didn't knew that this was the direction you might go for. However, hopefully it will not come to that. Second thing, just so you know, I did like thought about that, what you have said last time, and basically reading up on stuff, and considering that, yes, I agree that we are doing milestone leveling, so I'll be like not doing the like random encounter rolls, but like changing it a little bit so that the encounters should have, well, they should bring something regarding the story or something else. Just they should be,
Yeah.
something like that. Fuck. Oh yeah, and also another thing, apart from my usual tardiness, I did mention to others that despite I'm taking like a anti-allergic pill drug, it's been pretty, it's like the height of the season for allergies for me, so I might be slower or just distracted more than usual.
Yeah, it's
It's been, like,
understandable.
health reasons screwing up with my brain. Was there something else I should have mentioned? No, actually, one like more thing. This is like a small retcon, although maybe not really, because I didn't exactly like describe the camp as a whole. That apart from the Goldvein and Hruk, there are just a scant few other survivors, mostly sailors and soldiers. However, without a role, you do see that at the back of the camp there is one mage-looking fellow, definitely like spellcaster of sorts, due to his like slightly tattered and partially still not muddy but just dirty robes due to the things that happened, probably also for him. And he seems to be like a fever. He's like laying down and looking like he's not having exactly a good time.
Just need to check what my heal skills are.
The question. This was like a temporary camp. There was a main camp, right?
Right now there is no news about main camp. Like, this is a temporary thing, and to be fair, you can ask that in character, because I To be fair, I cannot exactly remember at which point we ended the discussion, like what was said already in character between the two guys. I know that
Then just-
Hruk was egging Cheryuk.
Then just repeat it and we'll see how it goes.
Sparks were flying.
Uh-huh.
Grr. I am the true Chirrut.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, Beer Brain, that I'm Hruk, not Cheryuk.
That may be so. Perhaps we should continue this at a later date.
Yes, gentlemen, we are all among friends. Just take it easy, we already have enough troubles as it is. Well, as I was saying, I'm Goldbane, this is Hruk. We are kinda missing the rest of our party right now. But we are kinda helping out with setting up this camp for now. This is from what Mr. Greenstalker was saying, this is merely a temporary solution and kinda not hard to see why. And Hruk is like, yeah, this is not a defensible position really. If those things came from the seas again, not everyone around here is immortal, you know?
Mm-hmm. Is this the big camp? How do I say success looking around? The big one we were going to? Hmm.
You see my little... sorry, I do remember that Mr. Cheryuk here introduced himself, but I... Actually, no, sorry. Yes, I think... yes, I might never remember. I think that at the very least we had introductions out of the way, so...
As Goldman asked us, Success gladly introduces himself again. I am Success, greatest of your Moonlight apprentices, master of the sword, and greatest of... And he continues on like that until somebody stops him. Anyway.
Alright.
That's six is the local brigade. Anyway, did you manage to salvage any siege weapons from the ships? Out of character, did we have any like ballistas or guns on these ships?
Not really. Not to your knowledge. Because nobody was really planning for a siege. Most of the ships were taking, building materials. And essentially, yeah, basically everything that's needed to basically berserk rush, or rather rush up after arrival so they could... Sorry, I need to reword my sentence. English, fucking hell.
Yeah.
The focus was to take as many supplies and materials needed to build, so that when the fleet arrived at the designated landing zones, which also were the sites that were scouted for building, the first villages, cities and outposts and whatnot. So the focus was on that and not exactly on taking, siege weaponry. That said, probably those supplies that were taken probably also could be used to build siege weaponry, but yeah. But to answer in character, speaking about the main camp, well, I would love to have good news on that front, but I think we are still at the point of, pulling heads out of our asses and figuring out what to do. We are still, from what Mr. Greenstalker was saying, right now we are, trying to regroup, find out who survived, rally the survivors, see what we managed to salvage and whatnot, and then probably, well, some of us, maybe our group, maybe Mr. Greenstalker will try to eye up a better position where we can establish our main camp. Obviously, I'm not a tactical genius, but obviously the initial plan is kinda like gone at this point, so we have to improvise.
Right. First, then first things first. Do we have a source of fresh water?
No.
I believe.
The success spikes up. First of all, where's everyone else? Hmm? Hmm?
Probably scattered all around, would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe still washing up on the shore.
We should
Or
go find them. Uh-huh. What are we sitting here for? Hmm? Mm-hmm.
well,
No.
nobody's holding you back, but this is still an unknown area. Look, and then Godwin like takes a small swing and basically wraps the back of his head like in kind of in a sheepish manner. I'm not like the genius at strategy, but from basic lessons I recall, essentially yes, we can get back, but from what what Head Ranger said, essentially right now focus is to scout the immediate surroundings to make sure that nothing will come and eat us and eat us and eat us. Basically get our bearings, figure out well we and then figure out where we are exactly, and Hruk immediately pipes up. Yes, we know where roughly we know which landmass we are in. Yes, that. Maybe scavenge, rather scour, patrol the coastline. Maybe we'll be able to find someone or something else. And then maybe, I don't know if it will take 2 days or 3 or however long, but we'll definitely try to, or rather, I think that's the idea, that we probably will be aiming towards like moving out after regrouping, like moving out towards a location that will serve as our base of operation, because obviously being at the beach and having only portions of the forest or a jungle as a cover is not the best situation.
So first off,
And then he like points with like his thumb towards like at the back towards that ill-looking mage. And we can't, for whatever reason, we can't count on magic communication, at least for now.
Shirk is going to walk over to the sick-looking mage and basically ascertain how grievous his fever is. If it's something more, if it's like a tropical disease or just a aftershock of the attacks.
Okay, go right up ahead.
Alright.
You can now come up to him and make a medicine check?
Heal check, yeah.
Or heal check, yeah.
I mean, I forgot I had 3D dice on.
3D.
Yeah, I have it disabled because it loads for so long.
Yes, that's terrible.
Okay, with
22.
Yeah, with a 22, you are able to deduce that his fever, or basically his illness, is not because of physical reasons. This is not like he wasn't poisoned by a local animal. It was not effect of the attack, even though he probably was somewhat fatigued if they had to swim here, at least for a little bit. Although, considering there was a wreckage of a ship on the shore, perhaps this was just like a tiredness, soreness from like a long night or something like that. You are not a spellcaster yourself, however, you can basically, from the process of elimination, figure out, and from what you've heard, that this spellcaster is suffering from some sort of arcane backlash.
Mhm.
Whatever he tried to do, and Goldman implied that it was something about like messaging. So maybe maybe he tried to do a sending or something like that, and that caused some sort of backlash and hit him right back. And I'm gonna say with that roll, this is not a life-threatening thing. This is essentially this is something that has to pass with time. Or rather, the spellcaster can recover from this in time.
Yeah.
And like
All
get
right.
to rest.
Right, so Chirek kind of hums to himself, nods. Yes. He takes a close. He kind of lifts his eyelid and basically checks the pupils. I see. Well, he walks over back to the rest of the group. Oh, good news. It's not life-threatening. Whatever he did seemed to have caused some form of feedback loop. I've remember details of my village of several arcane casters having some form of seizure if their arcane magic got out of control. Seems that something here disrupted his sending spell and caused him to go in. Caused him to basically shut down, so to speak. But he should make a recovery if once he gets some good rest.
Yeah, when you say something caused this, both Goldbane and Hruk like look over you and they look at the horizon, and that massive storm wall that you have seen from the start is still visible in the far distance, and both of them have like this and Goldbane, Hruk merely like slightly snarls or growls, while Goldbane is like, yeah, I have a suspicion. Something tells me that.
Never heard of a storm being able to intercept a sending spell before. But this I feel is no ordinary storm.
I concur. Nothing about this is ordinary. These monsters shouldn't attack our fleet. The storm itself, the eye of the storm, if I think I'm like shouldn't be that large, or assuming this is even eye of the storm and not some kind of like a magic-y kinda barrier. However, we are kinda low on spellcasters, especially those that are low on, higher circles. I would love to ask if somebody tried to actually teleport
That sounds like a
back
way.
to the mainland. What?
That sounds like a way to somebody get lost forever underwater. Mhm.
Yeah, especially since like the basic procedure is that we kinda have to. Either this is what at the very I would be trying to do, apart from finding the rest of our teammates and trying to ensure we gather as much supplies as possible. Yeah, we kind of have to. Some of us, maybe one of us will be lucky to find like a good spot where we can establish base of operations, like main camp. And from
Let's
there,
go. We can do.
and from
We will
there,
find the camp.
yeah, we need to. Well, then, people smarter than me, at the very least, thank God. No, he wouldn't say that. Thank fact that we actually have someone from command nearby, so they should know what we are supposed to be doing next.
Sixtus turns and looks toward Coron Ballum. Do you know anything about setting up camp? Mm?
I know
No,
a
sorry.
bit.
Uh-huh. Do you see anywhere near? You're taller than me, so maybe you have better eyes. Do you see any good place to set up camp?
I have a feeling we would need to venture more than just looking around in the immediate vicinity.
I mean, that's a pretty tall palm tree. Why don't you climb it?
Why don't you?
No. You're taller than me. You'll see further. Master was taller than me. He always saw more.
You like me to fetch you a box or a catapult?
I can throw you up there if need be.
No. You're taller than you think you are.
Goldbane is like kind of interjecting this banter between teammates. If you don't mind, I have one small favor to ask. We kind of have our own tasks to do, and it's better to spread out to cover more ground. But considering we are kind of missing a couple of our own, you mind if for a time being we will temporarily loan Azra here?
I think we all just turn to look at Astrak, who has the same nondescript face, and he probably like holds out his hand for more alcohol. Since I think it's his decision, not ours. And since he's not here, it's your decision.
He kind of stares at Goldbane and stares at our group, and before bring back to Goldbane and just keeps sipping his drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So, Asag will stay here and help with the building up. What barricades he can muster.
Yeah, we kinda have to strike a balance between, after all this is on a temporary place, and we also need to spread around, figure out the local area, see if anything else would be coming for us. Actually, Krug, didn't you already seen something? Maybe this will help our teammates here. Krug is gives a stink eye to Goldman and Cheruk, and he's like, fine. I didn't see the details, but I think to the hold on, need to remember. And then he pulls off one small scroll, not like a map scroll, but he's very not tiny, messy notes and very basic drafts of landscapes. And then give me a moment. To the west from here, and you came from the west side. To the west from here, I think I saw a large ship wreck. I think one of those, that. Fucking hell, I cannot do this voice.
Frigates, command ships.
Yeah, one of those command ships. So that wasn't that hard to spot from very far away, but no details for that. To the east, I think farther away there was maybe another wreckage, and then not sure if. Maybe also a smaller camp. It was really hard to say. I thought I
If
saw
it-
like a small fire, but like
If it's a smaller camp, it would most likely mean more survivors. So that's where we head. So that's where I suggest we head next.
obviously Hruk doesn't say it, but obviously there's also an option that you can spend some time to like as you are scouting the area to find like another vantage point and conduct like a longer observation, so that who knows, maybe you also like see something else maybe deeper in the inland. However, while they do not say that, and this is like mostly information from me as a DM, I mean, it will be up to you what are you gonna do. However, venturing forth too deep, like without having, you know, established beachhead and like foothold and whatnot, might be risky. Anyways, it will be your call.
Or
mean-
what do you think we should do?
What was that, sorry?
What do you suggest we do? We head for the large ship to the west, the small camp to the east, or do we scout further inland?
I say we head towards the ship. If it's one of ours, there may be survivors.
No. Survivors are at the camp, and like he looks at you two and then walks towards Zilul. Right? Like we go to camp, right?
But I would be giving up more, how do you say, specimens to study?
Is that a yes? Sixus looks a bit confused. Um,
Can you guarantee I'd have a better selection of specimens in these woods than a, shall I say, a derelict vessel?
Sixtus looks very confused. Then yes, he says, looking very unconvincing. Yes, of course.
Fine, let's check the camp.
I too vote for the camp.
Well, it seems that regardless of my choice, I am outvoted. Nonetheless, you'll have to do later on. Later on.
Who? What? Huh?
No.
He looks rather confused. Okay, go ahead.
No,
No, nothing to worry. It won't hurt much.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. All right. Let's go then to the camp. As he starts marching small steps forward in the general direction of the camp.
As you will be beginning to leave, Goldmim will be like, well, good luck. We will probably hang around the camp for a while, and then probably we'll double check on that ship to the west, Rook. So, assuming it's not that far away, we don't want to leave other survivors for too long.
Green.
But good hunting.
So with that, I guess we gather up.
Okay, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna gather up your tokens. You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Party gathering in progress. Please do not resist. Mm.
Okay.
Being transported. Please do not resist.
Alright.
Alright, you
Beginning
probably
your
put more skill.
you're beginning your journey throughout the tropical land. Obviously, as this is like a wild, mostly untamed area, it's less about finding used paths and more about carving your own, just ensuring that you won't fall into a natural hazard, so to speak. And let me double check. I didn't have time to like read through entire exploration rules, but and obviously the terrain is that you cannot always proceed with the beach is not always sandy, so sometimes you have to like kind of start going deeper, like through the forest and through the jungle. So essentially what I'm getting at, that I assuming Cheruk as a guide.
Yep.
It essentially we kind of have to like see if you like basically keep the party on track and don't like lose your.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it's a survival check.
Yes, indeed. Before you roll, I don't have any like mechanical specifics. However, if any one of you has any idea how you might help or assist in this endeavor, and actually I need to because honestly I've been juggling 2 to 3 different systems, and I'm always like probably remembering what the like. Is there an aid action? I know there's a spell, but not. 8 another.
What? Oh,
No,
swallow
this
hold.
is combat. No, wait, you can assist. Essentially, Cheruk will be making a main role. However, if any other party member has an idea how they would be able to assist you, to aid you, they might describe the way how they are doing that, and that gives you a, I believe, from reading the page, I believe that's +2 bonus to skill check.
Also, before we continue, do you know that you can actually turn the grid off on these map? On
Yes,
this page?
I know. However, this is also like if it will be needed. Technically, if there's no combat, I could be disabling it, but.
I mean, if you want, you can put all our tokens on GM layer here and just take them from here whenever we go anywhere. But other than that, there's no reason to have it on, I think.
Unless I would have to like have a encounter which doesn't have a map. Because
I'd recommend making a generic jungle map and using that instead. They tend to be better than just a flat screen. I can send you one if you want.
I have some maps, but we'll see.
Yes.
Disable that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Hey,
does
six
anyone
us-
from the
do you
party wants to assist eight Cheruk or no? Or sorry, not like want, but like if you want.
Nobody wants.
Assist him with what? Sorry.
Cheruk is making a main survival check to basically guide you through this unexplored land, and technically there is an action in Pathfinder where you can aid your ally, basically aid another. So if you have an idea how you can aid Cheruk in his task, then he will be getting like a bonus to his roll. Just not sure if you have anything that would be.
I was gonna say. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, go on. What were you
I
gonna
was
say?
gonna say I could climb up on a tree and point the way, but he can fly, so I'm not sure that helps at all.
And fly.
I think Corin will assist with what Cherokee is doing, sort of consulting with him and the like.
Did you know that this plant is poisonous?
Oh no, you've distracted
Why-
him. We get lost.
Why, yes, I did.
So yeah, I suppose roll to assist with the survival?
You don't have to roll, just you describe how you do this, and then Cheryuk gets +2 bonus to his skill check. If I'm reading the page, correctly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I thought when it came to aid another, you had to roll above a 10 on it, but yeah.
It's an attack
That's
roll.
like-
So maybe the skill check also works the same way. Okay, so you can roll.
Yeah, you need to roll 10 or higher. Down here. Here you go.
You know what? Normally, I know there's not like technically there are no like critical successes on saves, but I'm gonna say that essentially Koron gives like +4 bonus to Cheryuk's roll
Yeah.
because
You reinvigorated my passion for exotic botany.
Yeah, I imagine that they're just bouncing sort of plant life off each other.
Yeah. See, this plant help with the headache. You crush it and you smear it on forehead.
Yeah, the trouble is that it causes cramping. We'll use it in moderation.
All right, so rolling a survival check.
yeah, if Zero was also helping, then that means you get total of +6 additional bonus to your
Alright.
roll.
Yeah,
So 30.
Excellent. Even
So
though this is yeah.
31 since we're traversing with a machete.
Alright. So, even though this is a new ground, you feel like fish in the water, and you expertly begin to lead your party members throughout the thick tropical jungle, making sure you do not step on anything poisonous, or you do not end up with a broken leg because there's like a unseen crevice or like a crack in the ground. And as you're traversing, basically the entire team, if you want to, you can make a knowledge nature check. And the DC, especially for Cheruk, and actually for Cheruk and Korn, will be lower because they were like really talking about it and, you know, bouncing, doing the brainstorm thing.
Yeah.
26 from Churich.
Alright.
Oh, there goes our good rolls for the day.
exactly.
Mhm.
I gotta get out of the way now.
Mhm. Hello, nature as well. Ah. Mhm.
Okay, so I think Zixos gets to like maybe the last, but it dawns on you as you begin. You also like spot some, essentially some plants and bushes and trees you spot. They are like similar to you. They do not seem out of place. This is like, you know, nature as you know it from other places in the world. However, and sorry, I do not have like very, very specific examples. However, you also spot plants, bushes, and whatnot that simply, like, normally you would not believe that they would be growing here. Like, they are completely out of place. And I mean out of place that this is technically like a warm tropical climate. And you see things that normally grow like in completely different, like colder
And more
climates.
temperate climate.
And even worse than that, or even more weirder than that, you believe, even though we didn't roll for that, but with that nature checks by the process of elimination, you believe that you actually spot one or two examples of like plants that do not originate on material plane. Like for example, probably let's give it an example that you probably spot a very small patch of frozen ground, out of which it grows a single. It's not called rose, but for the sake of similarity, but would look like essentially like a ice rose, like a winter rose, growing out of the ground.
Like.
So they are not that often, but there are severe discrepancies and severe deviations from what you would expect.
Koro, come look at this. What do you make of this?
I'm unsure. Doesn't look like anything I've seen before.
Does anyone mind if I try and take this rose as a sample? Want to study this further?
Don't worry.
Success rate and I don't think Mother Nature complains too much.
The more we know about this place, the better.
Oh, and actually, I should also mention that despite seeing these extreme weird deviations, the entire ecosystem doesn't seem like it's collapsing. Like, essentially, what would be the best analogy? Essentially, you are seeing like an entire picture of puzzles, although some parts are misshapen and out of like put in a different spot. So far the entire structure has not collapsed. Sorry, probably should have made it more confusing.
But how did this rose get here? That is the question. It could have been carried here.
Probably the same as us. It's crashed on a ship.
It doesn't.
Oh,
it looks like it was.
That's for him.
It looks like it grew out. Essentially, you're attempting to harvest the irregular plant.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go with that winter thinking question. Okay, because it is biting cold, I will definitely need a skill check to see if you avoid injuring yourself while doing that. I think that also would be survival. Or hold on. Let me check. Navigating. Trying to figure out what would be the best skill for essentially harvesting.
I mean, it will be survival or nature. Those are the only two that would make sense.
Yeah, so your choice, Cheryuk, survival or nature?
Nature then. 25.
All right. Well, at 25, you avoid getting, freeze bite, as the winter rose, as I'm gonna call it, is really damn cold. However, this is not the first plant that has potentially dangerous effects if mishandled. So you harvest it expertly and you tuck it away with the rest of your supplies, and the weird irregular extraplanar plant has been placed in your supplies. Right, and this was one of the things I forgot to ask at the start from technical things. Question to players: do you want to have like a separate handout that you can use as your like place to put player notes, or not really?
No, I believe the character sheet comes equipped with the notes. A written note tab.
I mean, if anything else, you can just give us a handout called loot, and you can copy paste stuff there if you want, or you can just copy paste it in chat. It's up to you.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Alright.
Like if we forgot to add loot we pick up, we forgot it on the ground somewhere. Like that's what happens. Mhm. Like if it's not on the character sheet, we don't have it. Or the loot list, of course.
Alright, so if the loot will be present, then I will be making like a handout so you can like divide it between yourselves.
Yep.
Alright, so probably maybe it was some kind of like maybe the fuck, what's the word? The weather was not perfect, but as you are traveling, you have a solid idea where this camp that probably Hruk saw is. However, along the way you spot something else. Actually, he did mention that before, but it turns out it's like, or maybe this is a completely different wreckage of a ship, because you also spot another wreckage. You are not yet on this map because that was actually like a small map. You can imagine that you are like walking nearby and you essentially see this, that basically remains of a wreckage of another ship with some visible chests and boxes that from a distance they do not seem touched. From a distance you do not see any like movement, you do not see any survivors. So do you go pass it by, ignore it, or do you approach to investigate it further?
Let's see what's
I
going on
vote-
here.
I vote we investigate further.
Go.
Like go past or go.
Yes.
Go investigate.
All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna put you here. Alright, as you come up from the foliage, you leave the jungle and you enter the beach again as the remains of a wreckage are being strung around and remains of a ship well, are nearby.
All right. I'm gonna get a bit closer towards the smaller. What would the
Robot?
the rowboat? For a second, I was thinking a small longboat, but
Small
Okay.
boat.
As you begin approaching, you can make basically perception. Are they perception or survival checks? Because there are some tracks on the ground.
If-
So
Perception is to notice the tracks, survival is to follow them.
okay,
Yeah.
so perception to like notice anything interesting about this area. This is like for the area in general. Alright, so Zixos and Coron. Actually, let me double check something.
Oh, what's it?
Okay, so as you like approach closer, you do see, especially like regards to a robot, that there were survivors that managed to like basically approach this area, and then as we're like looking on the sand and looking for any signs, it seems like there was a fight, there was a struggle. You managed to identify several dried splashes of blood, and then as you like pointed towards the others and your like look at it, then you can identify like multiple tracks of roughly humanoid shapes. They mostly seem to be like a smaller creatures, so not like medium like yours, but like essentially like small creatures.
Looks at
Like me,
Sixus.
Sixus?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
him.
Like Zexos, and yeah, there are also like tracks, signs that something or someone was being dragged deeper inland.
It seems that whoever was here has been captured by some locals. Which I believe this makes it a top priority rescue mission.
Then you were able to follow the tracks.
Agreed. So,
Do you like ignore all of that?
No, you check it out first. Now Success charges forward. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What does Success see as he walks up to the ship?
Okay, inside most of the supplies have been like washed out. However, you do still see several crates that were tightly, anchored inside the ship's structure. However, as Cheryuk and Zexus begin to check it out, both of you, and this time this is also perception check. However, yeah, this is for something different.
22.
Sure.
Hey.
Because I believe you. Corin, if you like also checking these crates and whatnot, you can also
Yep.
roll. Yeah, Zixus had a chance, but okay. Because I believe you like start checking it out, like trying to see what's inside.
Yeah.
Okay, Zixus, what about you?
Sorry? What?
Do you like try to check out what managed to survive? What sorts of supplies have you found?
Yeah, I'm checking it out. Mm.
Okay.
I need a quickly to bring it back.
Yeah, sure. Sadly, okay. So this is kind of happening at a similar time. So sadly, the rest of the party will not have a time to like shout a warning to Zixos, because
Sure.
Cheryuk and Koron, you realize that as you're like checking this stuff, that the main large chest that survived here, that was seemingly closed, has been trapped.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it was like a mechanical trap, it was easier to see. However, for Zixos,
Yes.
as the rest of the party comes up to this conclusion, and they probably saw in the distance as Zixos like came up at the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and they start checking the stuff, and there's suddenly the air around you gets much hotter, and then suddenly this like you can roll me a DC 17 reflex save.
Sure. The character sheets are being a bit slow, so give it a second.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's hope 6 has evasion.
At level 3.